What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Been thinking through this concept or this idea around managing money, portfolio management, if you will. And I don't have it really ironed out. So I'm just kind of thought experiment. Let me know what you think in the comments. Big help in the algo, as some of you have phrased it. Helped in the algo, Trav. Liking these videos, commenting on these videos, it sends it to the Google gods, and it sends it out there, and informs people of these videos, and I really appreciate that, big time. So I'm thinking through portfolio management, meaning a buddy of mine, longtime friend. We're headed to a trip this weekend. Actually, we're gonna go hunting for some white-tailed deer up in the Great White North. But he had said to me this summer when we got together, he's like, Trav, you really have to have your capital working for you. That's really what I've learned in the last decade. And I'm like, I agree 100%. Like the way to get ahead in life, or the way to have a life of options and choices, is you really need to accumulate capital and have that capital working for you. And so you'll hear all sorts of stuff when you get down and you talk to like a financial planner. Like they'll be like, oh, do this 40-60 portfolio. You do like 40% in bonds, which is essentially like, let's say that a local county is going to build a road like the one I'm on, and they put out something called a muni bond, a municipal bond. Essentially, they pay maybe say 5% interest on that thing, and you go ahead and buy one of these bonds. And as interest rates float up and down, the value of the bond changes, but you care or you don't care, because every year you're getting paid a certain amount. So you got this cash flow coming from 40% of the portfolio. The other 60% they typically used to back in the 90s would tell you, like, you just buy stocks, just buy, the indexes, just diversify out, buy some NASDAQ, buy some Dow Jones, buy, the Russell 2000, and then like call it good. And then if you really want to get fancy, maybe you have a fourth of it over in what they would call like emerging equities or foreign equities, or any of these type of things. And I've really thought through this whole process, and I'm like, none of that makes sense. None of it makes sense. Actually, in undergrad, I got to work at our universities. I got to be on there. We got to manage part of not the pension, but we got to manage part of the endowment. So people donate to the university makes a profit, etc. They've got this fund, and we got to manage part of the endowment, and I get to pick like what equities. I put Caterpillar in there. It was like 2011. I was like, we got to get Caterpillar in there. I felt like it was a good buy, but nonetheless, so you'd manage this out. So here's how I'm thinking about my portfolio in terms of allocation. The reason number one for this is I feel as though, and I think that moving forward, to have any level of freedom, it's going to take capital. And that just is what it is. This is not the 1950s where you can just work at a gas station, buy a cool car, go swing dancing and have a fun time. That's not the game right now. If you want to have any level of freedom, I think you're going to need capital. If you want your family, your kids to be able to get on an airplane and not have to mask up and vax up and do all these things, you're just gonna have to fly private. You're just gonna have to have alternatives. You can get chartered flights, or it just, in my opinion, I don't think I need to hammer that point, because I think you can look around and be like, if you want freedom and you want any of that, I think it's going to require some capital on your end. Unfortunately, we're going back to peasantry. I've had many videos on this. It's kind of the plan. It's kind of like get the sheep in line, get them with their palm chip reader, get them with their medical operations every 90 days, help big pharma, big marriage of big pharma and government, let government grow, tax, inflate, and then at the end of the day, you pretty much have the haves and you have the have-nots. And I want you guys to be on the haves. And so here's my thought experiment on portfolios. I've heard people like George Gammon speak about their portfolios, and George, for example, goes, I like 50% of my portfolio to be in things that pay me to own them. Rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, bonds, whatever it may be, but I want to get paid to own it. And then he talks about 10% of his portfolio being in speculations, and then a certain percentage of his portfolio being in gold or silver. And he uses a few different items to help him do that, because he travels a lot, so he uses some, who cares about the mechanics of it. So I've heard people like Gammon, speak about their portfolio. So I've been thinking through mine, and I'm thinking about where I'm trying to go. And at this point in time, a lot of it just has naturally fallen on the real estate side, which if I'm a younger guy, single guy, and I don't have a family, any dependents, I'm probably not too concerned personally about where I reside, because I'm probably going more mobile. If I'm a young guy watching this, like Trav, you're 21, you have no kids, you have no, you have no responsibility. Like, what's up? What are you doing? Van life, dude. Van life, dude. I mean, I might buy some property here and there. I might buy something out in Wyoming that, be able, like, I might do that. I might get a sailboat, to be real with you. I'm probably doing the sailboat, which I'm going to do anyway. I'm just waiting for our 7-year-old to get a little bit older, just for, like, overboard and things like that. But I've said that for a while, that by the time she's 12, maybe earlier, I'm going to have quite a sailing vessel. I've already started with the smaller boat, so I'm not too particularly concerned about that. But I do hold real estate at the moment, and I've got an ability to create cash flows off of that. So hey, I've got it. And I also, like, my main concern there is just being able to farm it and not have to care if things get crazy. It's like, all right, well, I'm good. Like, I'm good, and I'm in a position where I can, like, turn that into a business and help people. I'm very bullish on commodities right now. Very bullish on commodities. You can't really print commodities. They're not sexy. It's not Tesla stock. They're a little bit under the radar, but in an inflationary environment, commodities rise. Something that would pay me to own it, that would not be a speculation, would be Exxon stock. At this point in time, I looked up this morning, I can basically put every dollar I put into Exxon, I'm going to get paid 5.7% a year to hold it. For the current price. So stock's trading at like $62 a share. They're going to pay you $3.75 in dividends. And if they keep printing money, these political elites continue to do this, oil is going to keep ripping to the moon. And so eventually end up with $100 barrel oil, $150, $200 barrel oil, which means the dividend is going to continue to rise and the price of the stock will continue to rise. But would I rather have my $60 sitting in a bank account, or would I like to trade my $60 in for one share of Exxon? So that's an example of something that pays me to own it. An example of a speculation. You could put cryptocurrencies in the speculation folder. That would be part of the portfolio. Now, I don't know the percentages. I'm really working through this. Because the other part of the portfolio, the other two parts of the portfolio are speculations that are just political distortions that are occurring that you're like, oh, it's pretty asymmetric. And then the last part of that is your insurance policy. If everything goes bad, how are you insuring this? That to me is precious metals. Back in the day, people used to allocate maybe 10% of their portfolio to precious metals. I'm thinking maybe 20% at this point in time. I like the balance between gold or silver. It's just, to me, it's just one part of the portfolio. Like, how much gold, how much silver, it doesn't matter. It's in the same category. Being that silver is so much cheaper than gold at the moment, I would rather own more silver than gold. But it doesn't matter to me. If the pricing and the ratios change up, I'll just change up. I'll exchange silver for gold. Whatever. So what percentages of the portfolio am I going to put there? And I haven't really ironed it out, and I want to hear from you guys in the comments, because when you guys put comments in here, it helps, as you say, the algo. You guys like these videos. Major appreciation to you guys, because it pushes these things forward. You look at the views and they go, and that's all on you guys. So I appreciate that. So I'm thinking through this. I'm like, I think I want 20% of my portfolio in precious metals. I think it's a little bit higher than that right now. But as we get closer to what I deem the end game of fiat currencies, I think that's kind of a possibility here. That those things are going to rip. Speculation on those items would be mining stocks. So I'm looking at silver really heavily right now. I'm really, like, to me, it's a speculation. Uranium is relatively a speculation. Cryptocurrencies, private ones in particular, speculation. And then other things that, pay. So basically you've got things that pay you to own them. You've got speculations, and then you got insurance. And at what percentages of the portfolio should I allocate to what? I don't really know at this point in time as far as what the right answer is there. For my net worth, I do feel as though, because I'm younger and I've got certain bases covered as far as like the real estate and the real estate's paid for and things like that, that I can go a little bit riskier and put a lot of my percentage of the basket there in speculations. And so I'm probably going to be more than 50% at this point in speculations, probably 20%, maybe inch that up from year to year, in insurance, meaning like physical metals that I have little possession of, or the keys to the safe, so we're knowing where they are. And then the remaining part of that, smaller part of that, I think, because at this point I'm really trying to accumulate capital, a smaller part of that will probably be in things that pay me. Exxon stock, good dividend paying stocks that just, and then as I win with speculations, as I take profits, if you will, with speculations, I will slowly shift the portfolio over to more things that pay me to own them.